So, folks, I'm here again to present to you guys another wonderful call in to the Transatlantic Call In Show. This is a show I've been a co host on now for a couple months, and I'm really enjoying it. It's a show where people can call in and ask questions about trans people, trans rights, different aspects of transness, if you will. Because not everyone knows a trans person and not everyone gets a chance to, you know, ask whatever questions are on their mind. It is kind of an ask anything type of show about trans people. So check that out. This was with Josie Caballero. Go check out Josie's work. She's running for office. Very, very cool stuff. But also, folks, go check out The Line, which is the network that hosts this show, the Transatlantic Call-In Show. Go check it out. There's a link down below where you can go subscribe and also look at their merch and also do their Patreon thing. Go check it out. It's cool. And also down below is a link to the wider episode where this call was from. So check that out too. And like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to say it again at the end of the video, just letting you know, but you should like and leave a comment longer than 8 words everywhere. All right. Anyway, let's get into it. I hope you guys enjoy it. It's a great time going on this show every time. Let's do it.
Asher, he, him pronouns from Massachusetts. Asher, you are on the line and tell us about it. What would you like to talk about?
Um, hi, I'm Asher. I am a trans man, but I haven't done any medical transition, and I'm finding lately that my gender dysphoria is through the roof at the same time as my oldest kid is suddenly asking to start tea. And I'm kind of afraid to do either, even though we've moved forward with puberty blockers. I'm just kind of looking for a little advice.
Yeah. So are you saying you are worried about having your child start puberty blockers? Was that I just want to make sure I got that right.
No, I'm worried about the state violence that's happening. Even in Massachusetts, I'm nervous about having any of us on any kind of a list.
Oh, I see. I see.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jack, if you want to go ahead and start with this.
I guess, like, first of all, like, I totally sympathize. Like, it is scary right now out there. And I think that part of it is, obviously state level suppression is really, really a huge concern. Um, and I, I just also want to say, I think it's something that I think all trans people struggle with right now, like whether or not they have been on hormones, whether or not they have been visible online or in public, like the degree of visibility that we want to invite on ourselves, it gives all of us pause regardless of where we're at in our transition journey. And I think um one of the awful parts of this administration is that regardless of what we do, we're probably going to wind up on some kind of list somewhere. Um, like I, being in Minneapolis right now, if an ICE officer wants to add you to their database, they just take a picture of you and like you're there, whether you want to be or not, whether you're a bystander who just happened to be there or, someone who's been actively following them around. And um ultimately, I guess my take on this is we got to do what's best for ourselves first and then move from there. Um, but it doesn't make it less scary. And that's part of the hard part.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I will just say this because it really becomes a question about your own mental well-being, right? We know from the studies that transition is incredibly good for the mental well-being of people who transition. In fact, 97% of folks who have transitioned, even just at all, have a somewhat or a large amount of life satisfaction after transition. So even with the situation that is going on, people still report being more satisfied with life with transition, even with the fact that it is incredibly difficult right now. So think about that when you're making these decisions about your own quality of life, because sometimes it can be just as bad to not transition for these reasons on the what if than it is for, to go ahead and do it and deal with the current social environment. Um, However, I'll also say this as well, that safety is paramount. We want everybody to be safe. And if there was a situation where you were just completely unsafe and unsure, then there is that. I will say I don't live in Massachusetts, but I do know a lot of people in Massachusetts. There is a pretty strong support network in Massachusetts of trans people that I know. I know a lot of trans leaders who are in Massachusetts, as well as very strong political influences at the national level that represent Massachusetts that are going to be fighting for your best interest. So it's those type of things you got to consider. And of course, I can't tell you to do what you feel you need to do, but just know that your life satisfaction is critically important to yourself, and you need to weigh that in your own thoughts. But Asher, I'd love for you to respond.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm struggling partially because my kid's dysphoria is kind of triggering mine, in that we're both
Mhm.
AFAB and kind of going the same direction. One question I have, at least as far as puberty blockers, I don't know if either of you can answer. Is there an option other than monthly shots? Because I know my kid at least is scared of needles, like to the point of having trouble with vaccines. We have to, um, we need to do that very carefully. um,
Like I'm not too familiar with testosterone personally, and it's definitely a question you're gonna have to ask your medical provider on that, because I'm not
yeah,
familiar with the pathways of receiving testosterone.
And
I mean, I'm just strictly
Yeah.
talking the puberty blockers, but if you don't know, then that's, you don't know. We
Yeah.
will ask as
I
we get closer to that medically.
I will say
We
that
found someone.
I
Yeah.
think there are a couple of different alternatives that, again, talk with your medical provider, but I know injections are the most common, and that's followed up by more recently, they've come up with implants that can do some of that
Hmm.
same like puberty suppression work. I think there might be a handful of options when it comes to pill form, but I'm not, again, it'd be a question you'd have to talk to your provider
Yeah,
about.
for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And
Do either of you have,
mhm. Go ahead, please.
sorry, do either of you have any experience just dealing with multiple people in the household who are struggling with the same thing? I mean, I'm talking about myself and my oldest, but all four of us in the household are in some way trans, or non-binary, and it's just kind of bounce off each other.
I don't have any personal experience with multiple trans people in the same household, but I do have a lot of friends that do, and I think that there's a lot of solidarity inside of that, where you kind of commiserate with each other, and kind of like, kind of that shared lived experience can be very powerful. Rather than you kind of suffering alone, you have like people with you to help you kind of navigate these conversations. So I've heard good things. And then there are folks that do it with supportive households as well, that are, trans and cis, mixed households. So yeah, I would, and I honestly, personally, I always suggest to folks who are transitioning early in transition or just living as trans people in general to find a local community of people. I know in Massachusetts, there's a
Mhm.
lot of local communities that are trans, that you're going to be able to kind of connect with, to be able to ask these questions of people who already live as trans people in Massachusetts. So you can kind of have a better lay of the land of what the lived reality is on the day-to-day experience of being trans in public in Massachusetts. It's really important information. I did that myself when I was first coming out as trans when I was in San Diego, and there was a large network of people there that I was able to communicate with to kind of get what it was going to be like. And I was able to get a good approximation of what that would be like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
For my part, I would just add like there's a lot of solidarity there, like Josie was saying, and um, like also I'm just gonna throw out there it. I feel in my experience it can be easier to potentially deal with like feelings of the like more negative feelings when you're taking action to get towards your goals. When you're feeling really stuck, that can sometimes exacerbate struggles. Seeing other trans
mhm.
folks flourish while you feel kind of like bolted down. And when you have like even just a little bit of momentum towards your goal, I think that that can make all of those feelings a lot easier to deal with.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that makes sense. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
and
I've
and
not a
honestly, we are in a tough time in American history, that is for sure, when it comes to trans people. But there are more of us that are open than there ever has been in American history. And, to take the words of the late, great Miss Major, she says we're still fucking here. And in her philosophy and theory of change was our existence is our most powerful weapon, and the opposition wants us to be afraid and go back into the closet and not be public. They think that they can scare us into submission. And it's if you have the safety to be able to live openly and freely, it is our best thing we can do for our community and what it looks like to fight back, and that is to thrive. And even in the worst case situations, for us to be able to be happy as ourselves is the best thing we can do. Trans joy is the best weapon. And that's everybody has that option. And that's what we can do. Or you can, support the folks that are, and whatever fits your best lifestyle is the way that you should move forward in your life.
that makes a lot of sense, and I think that's what I needed to hear.
Yeah,
And I've been
absolutely.
feeling so stuck, and I mean, I've sort of come out at work, but nobody remembers to use my pronouns correctly. They just use she, her, and I mean, they're supportive. They've had all the training. They just forget, and I don't know how to remind them.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, just continue being yourself and keep being supportive as a parent. And we're gonna get through this.
Oh,
We are
absolutely will
approaching
as
the
a
bottom
parent.
of the barrel. The bottom is close. We're soon to go back up soon enough. And that's my eternal optimism.
Hell
I
yeah.
sure hope you're right,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
sometimes think you are.
Aw, thank you. I appreciate you. All right. Well, with that, any last words before we let you go?
Just want to say I started my kids doing gender neutral parenting when my youngest was born, and the oldest then came out as non-binary. And if you can do it, it's really, really worth it. They're amazing kids,
Yeah.
and they're so confident in themselves.
Amazing. Well, thank you for being a good parent. You're
Yeah, you
awesome.
sound great.
Yeah. All right,
Thanks.
Asher. Well, have a great rest of your day, okay? And good luck out there. Stay safe.
Thanks. You too.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that was a wonderful call, or a very contentious call. I'm recording this many days later, and I don't remember how that call went. Let me know how you thought that call went down in the comments, and then go click on a link down in the description below to the original episode, and also leave a comment over there. We're trying to grow this channel and that channel, so go do the things, help both channels grow. You're getting a lot of content. Go do that. Go click the buttons. You know the buttons, the ones that you click on YouTube. Go click them. And also, folks, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's keep on going.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather around. Twitch and YouTube and swishy streams. All that content is bursting the scenes. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord.